Okay, we are live and recording. So thank you all for joining me this evening. Glad to see that you are here. So if you don't know who I am, I will introduce myself. My name is Jovhannah Tisdale, and I'm in North Carolina. I'm a spiritual coach, healer, and guide. I work with women on helping them to find love within themselves and also, of course, to really cultivate healthy relationships with other people. I have a lot of different things that I do. I'm a Reiki master, crystal healer, as well as mindfulness and EFT practitioner and some other things. I do a lot. I'm always learning new techniques and things that I can bring. Let me turn this chime off. Things that I can bring forward to really help people improve their lives, improve their relationships, and things like that. So, like I was saying, today it's just virtual office hours, which means like my doors are open for your questions, your concerns, your comments. So you can type them in the chat box. You can unmute yourself and ask your question verbally. I'm going to get started with, oh, did someone say something? Okay, so we did have someone post a question from the Spiritual Love Circle that wanted me to cover not fully believing or questioning. So I asked for some clarification on that, like if there was something in particular that they were questioning or having trouble believing in, because that would kind of help me wrap my head around it a little bit. But let's see, so not fully believing. That's kind of general. Let me think on that for a little bit. Let me know if anybody else has anything that they want to cover. I just need to figure out how I want to attack this other question. So for questioning and not really believing in something, I would want to explore why are you questioning it? So I would get down to the root of what the issue is. Why don't you believe in this? Is there a reason? Did someone do something? Have you tried something before and it didn't work? So you still kind of have a belief like this isn't going to work again. So some things that I would recommend for that is to keep asking questions. Ask questions about your questions. If you are questioning a decision or questioning a relationship, keep asking why. Why am I questioning this? Well, because I'm not really sure about whatever this thing is. So why am I not sure about it? Because X, Y, and Z. And then there might be, okay, what is it that I can do about X, Y, and Z? Is there anything that I can do personally? Can I make any changes? Or is this kind of is what it is? And so then you start to unpack, okay, so what can I do about X, Y, and Z? Well, X, I can't really change it. That is what it is. I don't have control over that. So now we know we can eliminate X. We don't have to worry about X. Y, okay, that might be something I can change. Maybe I can work on my mindset. Maybe I can get some help in this area. So Y is something that you can control. So you start to figure out what action steps can you take to really start to move forward, so you can start believing in yourself or start taking the right action towards wherever it is that you're trying to go. Z might be like a wild card. Z might be, okay, I need other people to come in to help me with this. So there are some ways that you can do that. Another activity, if is like dismantling it, taking it apart, seeing what's really true, what's not true, what are you kind of making up. But Kimberly, if you watch this on the replay and post in the group and let me know like exactly what it's geared towards, I can answer that specifically in the group so that you'll have a little more guidance around that. Kind of hard not knowing exactly what to focus on. But so that was our opening question. So if you want to share, what are some things that you do if you don't fully believe in something or if you're constantly questioning something? Because another alternative is that if it's something that you don't fully believe, then why are you doing it? And it could be that it doesn't resonate with you, that it's something you, on some deeper level, don't want to do or shouldn't do. So that's also something to explore, is like, does this even matter to me? Does this really resonate with who I am and what I'm trying to do with my life? So there's that. I'm trying to see, are there any other questions? And then if not, I'm pretty sure I can ramble on about some things for a bit. So I'm looking through the group to see if there are any other comments or questions that I may have missed. I know Angela posted something that would be really great to touch on here. Topics. So it's interesting too, because we got the question about questioning, and a couple days ago I did a video that talked about the power of questions, asking the right questions to get clarity. And some other things that you can do around that issue is to set an intention before you pray or before you meditate, before you get in the shower, that you're going to get some guidance that will let you know what to do about something that you're like questioning. Should I go here? Should I go there? I don't know what I need to do. So set the intention that, you know, as I'm showering or during my prayer, during my meditation session, that I'm going to receive clear guidance on what my next steps are. That's something that I always encourage people to set intentions for their prayer or meditation sessions, because it can help you to get the answers that you're looking for. And our questions are really powerful too. So I think I talked about the other day how it's very easy to ask, like, why me? When something happens, instead of asking, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I learn from this? How can I move on from this? You know, what options do I have? So if we can start to ask questions that are more empowering, that will help you kind of clear up whatever confusion or misconception there may be, that will help you as well to make decisions for yourself and for whatever it is that you're kind of mulling over at the time. Excuse me, I felt that coming. I was trying to hold it off, but it needed to come. Okay, so what do we need to release? So on Tuesday, I asked, what do you need to release from your heart, your home, or your mind? And I want to share what someone posted. And I think that this is a very powerful statement. So it says, I am ready and willing to release any old stories that no longer serve me. I was reading something this morning that says, when you hear yourself telling somebody your famous story that makes you feel small, powerless, or less than divine, immediately stop yourself, even if you're mid-sentence. As soon as you stop repeating your story, you stop giving it energy, and the story soon withers away. And that's really, really, really powerful. So we all have stories that we tell ourselves, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not gonna be able to travel the world, like whatever it is. Or we tell ourselves that one time we were 7 and we fell down, that's why we can't dance anymore. Or because I had a failed relationship, nobody's ever gonna love me again. So we tell ourselves these stories, and sometimes we don't even see them as stories, we see them as reasons, like these reasons are valid. Like, what's a good one? I'm trying to think, what's the story that I used to tell? Like for me, I was in an abusive relationship. And so that was my story. Oh, well, you know, I was in an abusive relationship, so I don't trust men. I was in an abusive relationship, so I'm depressed. And the more that I was in that mindset and kept telling that story, I was identifying with the victim, right? So that allowed me to be in that, like, woe is me. Oh, I'm sad and I'm depressed all the time because I was abused. I am not allowing myself to, have relationships because I don't want to trust people because I was abused. So I kept telling myself this story, and that kept me small. It kept me it kept me in the mindset that I was still being controlled in some ways as well. So when I started changing the story, instead of saying, well, I'm a victim of abuse, right? I was like, I am a survivor. I survived domestic violence. There are so many women who cannot say that because they passed and their lives were taken. So instead of me saying that I was a victim, I started saying that I'm a survivor. And that was way more empowering. I stopped seeing myself as, like, this small, scared person, like, huddled up in the corner. And I started seeing myself as being strong, as being worthy, as being valuable, and being deserving of love, of life, and connection with others. So that's one way that when we stop the stuff that we say to ourselves, it can help us to really change what's happening around us. So if you are a person that, and this is my sister's thing, and I used to hate getting in the car with her, and I don't ride with her now, like, I don't really have a reason to. And if anything comes up where I might have, no, I'm not going to be in the car with you. Because so she's like, when she drives, like, I remember it's too, like, when she was younger, she was like, everybody's cutting me off and people keep doing this and doing that. And I'm like, well, if you keep just being in that space and reacting to one bad driver or whatever the case may be, you're attracting all of them. And then that makes you more aggressive. So if you're more aggressive, then you're going to start seeing all the aggression that's around you, instead of just take a deep breath and tell another story. Like, I'm safe on the road. I'm surrounded by safe drivers. Everyone is being safe and mindful of where they are going, and you'll have a more peaceful ride. Yeah, she was something else. But what I'm saying is, like, the stories that we tell ourselves are the things that we see. If you constantly say, I don't trust my boyfriend, I don't trust my best friend, I'm not going to have money, my family doesn't help me. If you keep telling those same stories, like that time I was 10 and I didn't get the game that I wanted for my birthday, so nobody loved me, or whatever that story is, if you continue to tell that story, it continues to be true. But if you can start to look back at things, especially things from our childhood, because a lot of those things impact who we are today, and say, oh, well, when I was 10, my parents were doing, like, everything they possibly could. And yeah, maybe I didn't get that one toy, but I got something I completely didn't even know that I wanted and wound up loving anyway. So just being able to change those stories and change those perspectives can get you out of a place of, like, lack and feeling unloved and unsupported, and shift it into something more positive, more empowering, so that you strengthen your belief. You're no longer confused or having to question a whole lot of things. And you don't have to keep living in the past. Like, you can create a whole new story, and not have to be in that place where you're constantly on repeat telling yourself the same things over and over. So let me know if that's resonating with you, and if you have any questions or comments to add on. And I'm going to go dig in the group some more for more questions. Let's see, what would you like to bring more of in your life? So here's a good one to cover. So a couple weeks ago, I asked, what is one thing you would like to bring more of in your life? And some of the things that were mentioned, if I can get back to them. I am so sorry. I keep yawning. Maybe it's because it's been rainy all day, and then the sun, it's getting dark so much earlier. Okay, I'm waiting for this to open up. Let me see if there's any questions in here. Nope. Okay. So we had commitment and drive. And when I think about commitment, a lot of times that's kind of like how love is. Like when we think about commitment, we immediately think marriage or being committed to someone else or something else. We don't really think about being committed to ourselves, being committed to our goals, to our dreams, to our growth, to our personal development. And one of the things that I often tell people is that you really have to be committed to you before you can be committed to something else. Um, if you put your wishes on the back burner to support someone else's wishes, you will be unhappy. And that even goes like if you work a full-time job, and then you love your job, so you're so committed that you're working overtime, you're pulling like 60, 70 hours a week, you were just going all in. But by the time you get home, you're so tired that you don't have time to go for a walk. You don't have time to spend with your family. You don't have time to work on, your hobby or your passion. That can cause a disconnect in your life. So it is important that you commit to yourself. Tomorrow, I am doing the Spiritual Love Masterclass again, and I created this workbook to go along with it. So one of the things that I added into the workbook was a section where you give yourself permission and commit to the process, commit to learning, committing to viewing love differently, and just taking time to yourself as well. So I think that's really important. It's a beautiful thing to touch on. It's like, where are you when it comes to commitment to yourself and commitment to your goals? And as I'm talking about this, I'm like thinking about my own situation and places where I am not being as committed as I desire to be. So there's some work that I need to do because I have goals and things that I want to meet, that I won't be able to take care of if I am not committed to myself. And someone else said relentless pursuit. To me, that falls in with like commitment, because commitment takes motivation and it also requires willpower, but it's developed one step at a time. A lot of times when we're trying to create a goal or accomplish something, we forget that it requires steps. So we think, okay, I want to change my life. I want to just start, whatever it is. And some people they can just make a change and boom, that's it. They're doing it good. But a lot of people are not like that. I know for myself, depending on what it is, I can make swift changes, but oftentimes I find that I need baby steps. I gotta stick my toe in the water first, then I gotta put my whole foot in. Then I'm like, okay, I can go knee deep, then, waist deep up to my chin. Okay, I'm good, I'm in there. So if you are like that and you have to kind of like feel your way into it, don't get discouraged, because it does take those little steps. Maybe you put your big toe in and you take it back out. Just keep putting your big toe in until you can get a whole foot in. Then keep putting your whole foot in until you can get up to your ankle, and so on, because you have to build upon that muscle. So if you miss a day in the gym or whatever it is, you eat meat and you said that you weren't going to, don't beat yourself up. Don't ridicule yourself or make yourself feel bad for doing something that you have been doing for so long, that is an ingrained behavior. It's habitual. It's a part of you. It's not something that you can just turn off so easily. So just acknowledge like, oh, I didn't, I wasn't committed today. That's okay. I can try again. So you're not a failure if you have slip ups. Give yourself the opportunity to grow and learn from those mistakes. So for me, it's like, okay, well, why did I not make it to yoga? Well, I didn't have my yoga mat with me. So now I have a yoga mat. There's one in my car, there's one at home, there's one in my office. So there's really no excuse for me not to do yoga wherever I am, because I can just roll the mat out, do a few poses, and call that life. So it's a matter of doing it every single day, rolling out the mat. If that's a problem, then leave the mat out on the floor and just get on it and do the yoga. So building up willpower, because it is a muscle. And once you start to exercise it, right? Just like any muscle, you start to build it, it starts to develop. And now you have a new pattern where it's part of your daily practice. So you don't necessarily have to worry that you're going to fall off the bandwagon and not make, and not integrate that into your life. So someone else says spiritual calmness and less stress. So let's talk about ways that we can develop and integrate spiritual calmness. So prayer, meditation, adequate sleep, eating and sleeping have huge impact on our moods and of course our energy levels. So I'm going to mention those too. You want to eat healthy, well-balanced meals, take a vitamin, make sure you're getting your nutrients and minerals. I will say that taking a multivitamin is super helpful, because you never realize that you're feeling bad until you feel better. So once because that was I've talked about part of like my wellness plan was like, okay, I want to start being more physically fit and things like that. So my start was a vitamin regimen, and that's been going pretty well. And not that I felt bad before, but I just realized like I didn't feel my best. Like my energy levels weren't as I don't know, they weren't the same. They weren't at the same level. Like, and I'm like, wow, like looking back, I can see where I was depleted. And now, because I am consistent in taking my vitamins, I feel better. My body is getting more of what she needs, and we're happy over here. So doing something like that is really helpful as well, to make sure that you're caring for your body that your soul is housed in. Going to some sort of service, whether it's church, whether it's mass, whether it's just, teaming up with a prayer partner. There's so many different ways that you can connect with community to feed your spirit. Being around like-minded people is always great to uplift you and really bring in some calmness. Nature is so soothing. Spending time near water, whether it's a shower, a bath, or going to an actual body of water, a lake, river, the beach, that's always really calm. And I recommend journaling. I tell everyone, journal, write things down. And I talked about prayer and meditation to help you maintain calmness. One of the practices that I have adopted is when I start to feel myself getting angry, to take a deep breath and put my hand over my heart and just breathe and feel my heartbeat until like I feel the anger dissipate. And it's scientifically proven that that does help, and that lowers your stress levels, and it really induces calmness when you do that. So that's something that I'm doing personally, and something that I'm teaching my 3-year-old, who has like just the worst, the worst tantrums. So in an effort to get her to be a little more mindful about her spiritual calmness, we are practicing hand over our heart, feeling our heartbeat, and taking deep breaths in And deep breaths out. And now she won't do it for like a long period of time, but if I can get her to do 3 to 5 breaths, it really does help her when she does that. And so that's a win for me. That helps me because then I'm not reacting to her energy at that level. We can both like bring it down here where we're calm, we're cool, and we can have a conversation instead of there being yelling and tears and just too much. So I recommend you trying that as well. It's a great process to teach children. So teach your family, even though they might be like, what is this? This is weird. But I know me, like I put my hand over my heart a lot, but I don't know how many people really do that unless somebody is like singing the national anthem. I don't know too many people who will, just take time out of their day and just like feel their heartbeat. So that's really interesting. So yeah, let's spread that awareness so that everyone can benefit from that practice. So I think I have covered most, and I'm clicking on everything else, most of the questions that were in the group. So if you have any questions for me, I will hang out here for a bit longer. And then if not, I will wrap it up and prepare to, actually, I was going to say to head home, but no, prepare to do yoga. and then head home for the night. So I'm trying to see, was there anything else popping off? Oh, hey girl, thank you. How's your book coming along? I hope all is going well for you. I was hoping we'd have more people join us because there's usually a really good conversation that flows.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, it was good. Yeah, I saw there was a couple other people, then they kind of went away, and I wasn't sure if we were having technical difficulties, but yeah, so my book, I found it for a while. I thought I lost it. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the stuff.
Good.
So I found it, and I found everything, and I looked at it, and it's like, okay, I'm putting stuff together in my mind, formulating stuff to figure out what I'm going to do with it.
Beautiful. I'm glad that it's on your radar and that you didn't yay, that's so awesome. So awesome.
Yeah, this has been really good, especially that one. I don't know if it's because of the Venus retrograde and things are kind of all up in the air, but the placing the feeling myself getting angry, what you just said about placing your hand on your heart and taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
That's been good. And then the idea about questioning, that's really good because I am in that process of questioning. Why am I questioning? So I felt, thanks for confirming that I'm in.
Good. I was like, wait, this is kind of weird, but apparently it's needed. So let's just talk about it.
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining me. I emailed you also, so hopefully you've got that. But yeah, I don't think there are any other questions. So I will close out.
All right. Well, you enjoy your yoga session.
I will. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. I hope you and the girls are doing lovely.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, they're laying right here right now. So thank you. You enjoy your weekend too, and you take care.
All right. Good night. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.